Welcome to Royally Rumbled. I'm Jordan.
I'm Robert.
We're not going to waste any more of your time.
Yeah, we're going to pass it right along to Omega Luke, who's going to get you primed for the AEW Tag Team Fantasy Booking Championship match between us and Keif The Chief.
Take it away, Luke.
Hello there, listeners of the Royally Rumbled podcast. Maybe a familiar name, maybe not. My name is Omega Luke, and I am back. I am back in the wrestling podcast world because I need to tie up some loose ends. So in case that any of you have been listening to Royally Rumbled in their fantasy booking quest on my podcast and on the unscripted / Guy Conics podcast, then you will know that they recently had a match against Keif The Chief. However, both of the guys were able to send me their amazing fantasy bookings, but I never got around to giving a winner and a result, unfortunately, before the Guy Conics podcast ended when Brainbuster Radio went down. So I am here today a lot later than what I expected to be. This should have been done a few weeks ago. However, been very busy, and I do really apologise to both Royally Rumbled and to Keif for making them wait this long to announce the winner. But I'm here now, and must say, two very good fantasy bookings. So let's start off then. Let's start off with Keif The Chief, the challenger.
Well. Here we are. The Fantasy Booking Championship match. Now, before I jump into my booking, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to Royally Rumbled for the opportunity to show off what I can do. I'm sure they've put together an absolute banger of a booking, and I cannot wait to hear what they've come up with. But with that said, let's jump right in. We start on October 9th with the first episode of AEW on TNT. The camera focuses on Golden Boy and Excalibur at the announce table. Welcome back, AEW fans. Before the break, we saw one hell of an opening match in our tag team tournament, with the Young Bucks getting the victory over Private Party and moving on to the next round. That's right, Excalibur. And from one pair of brothers to a tag team who feel that they are closer than brothers, let's hear from the best friends Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta. We cut to a backstage segment where the best friends have set up their own podium. The two are wearing sunglasses, sports coats with ties on over their t-shirts, and sweatpants. Trent leans in towards Chuck. "Are you gonna start?" "I thought you were going to start this one," Chuck says. "Damn it, man. Alright, cut." They adjust their positions and get ready to reset. Chuck whispers, "Okay, 1, 2, 3. Trent says, "Hello, AEW Universe." No, what the hell are you doing? They're not the Universe, that's that other... Ah, shit, my bad, that one's on me. Screw it, let's just go with it, says Chuck. "Fine," says Trent. "Well, you know what, Chucky? Nobody in this tournament thinks we have what it takes. Nobody thinks that you and I have a shot in hell of being the first ever all-elite tag team champions." Chuck leans into Trent. Is that true, man? I mean, that kind of hurts. You believe in us, don't you?" "Of course I do, because I know that I have something that none of these other teams have by my side. My best friend." Chuck looks to Trent. "Man, that was beautiful." The two lean in and hug each other as the camera fades back to Golden Boy and Excalibur. The following week, Golden Boy addresses the crowd. "Thank you for tuning into AEW right here on TNT. We have an outstanding show for you tonight. We will see the next match in our tag team tournament. It will be the best friends Chuck and Trent versus SCU's SoCal Uncensored." We hear the theme music of SoCal Uncensored. Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky strut their way out to the ring. Daniels hands the microphone to Scorpio Sky. "This is the worst town I've ever been in." Daniels takes the microphone from Scorpio. "You see, SCU is the greatest tag team in AEW. And we are going to prove it when we become the first AEW Tag Team Champions of the world. Kazarian takes the microphone. And on that beautifully sung note, I got 3 simple letters I'd love to say, and if you say it with me, it'll make my day. 1, 2. Kazarian is cut off by the Best Friends theme music. Chuck and Trent make their way down to the ring. Chuck is starting the match off against Scorpio Sky. The two trade maneuvers back and forth with neither man gaining the upper hand. Scorpio goes to whip Chuck against the ropes, but Chuck reverses it and lands a big standing dropkick, knocking Scorpio to his back and into his corner. Kazarian tags in and locks up with Chuck. The two try and force the other back, only to come to a stalemate. Kazarian holds a hand up, signaling for a test of strength. Chuck slowly raises his hands to meet Kazarian's, but as he does, Frankie kicks Chuck in the gut and pummels him into the SCU corner. Sky tags back in, and the two stomp Chuck in the corner. SCU continues their underhanded tag team wrestling to wear down Chucky T. Scorpio hammers Chuck in the corner, turns around and runs towards Trent. Scorpio slides and turns around and sprints at Chuck, who lifts his boot up and kicks Scorpio in the face. Chuck elbows Kazarian off the apron and runs at Sky. He jumps up and plants Sky into the mat with a leaping DDT. Trent starts to stomp in the corner and gets the crowd clapping to urge Chuck to make the tag. Chuck slowly crawls to his corner as Scorpio crawls to his. Both men tag their partners. Trent flies into the ring, knocking both SCU members down with a clothesline. As Trent starts to build momentum, he hits the ropes and tries another strong attack, but this time Christopher Daniels uses his microphone stand to trip Trent. Sky and Kazarian stand Trent up and get him in position for a double suplex. The two men lift Trent up, but before they can drive him down, Chuck slides back into the ring and pulls Trent's leg down, landing him back to the mat safely, and assists Trent with performing a double suplex on SCU. Sky and Kazarian roll outside of the ring as the Best Friends stand up and collect themselves. The two friends look around at the crowd, taking it in for a moment before their eyes meet again, and they start moving in for a hug. But before they can, Scorpio Sky slides in and charges at Chuck and Trent. The two friends step aside and use his own momentum to toss Sky over the top rope and out to the ring, onto the floor with a thud. Now, Kazarian is in the ring charging at them. Chuck leaps into the air and rocks Kazarian with a high knee to the face. Trent quickly picks up Kazarian and Chuck climbs to the top rope. Trent sets up Kazarian for a strong 0. Chuck hits the double stomp as Trent drops Kazarian to the mat, and the referee counts. 1, 2, 3. Justin Roberts makes the call. The winner of this match, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, the Best Friends! The following week on AEW, Trent and Chuck are backstage again with another podium setup. Trent starts off by saying, "Tonight, we take on the Dark Order, a team we've beaten." "Yeah, but they've beaten us too," says Chuck. "Yes, I know that, but that doesn't matter, Chucky. Do you know why? Because wins and losses don't really matter." No. It's because we have something that they don't. We have friendship." The two hold each other's hands up high. Chuck looks to Trent. "That was sweet, man. You know, you're my best friend." "You're my best friend," says Trent. But as he says that, the screen starts to static out as distorted laughter is heard. In the background, we can see slight movements from several figures. The creepers slowly crawl their way out from the shadows. The Best Friends hear the laughter but are oblivious to the creepers behind them. They quickly get the hell out of there and head for the ring. The Best Friends make their way down the ramp and stand in the ring awaiting their opponents. The lights flicker out and then come back on, and the ring is surrounded by creepers. The lights flicker out again, and the Dark Order is standing outside of the ring. The lights flicker out a third time, and this time, Evil Uno is in the ring, sitting atop his throne of creepers, with Stu Grayson by his side. The Best Friends cower in the corner together. The Best Friends snap out of it and play rock, paper, scissors to decide who will start the match. Chuck throws out paper, and Trent throws out scissors. Chuck will start the match against Stu Grayson. Chuck tries to use his power against Grayson, but is no match for his strength. Grayson slams Chuck over and over. Grayson drags Chucky T to the Dark Order's corner and tags in Evil Uno. He pulls Chuck by his hair to the center of the ring, lifts him up, and body slams him down to the mat. Evil Uno kicks Chuck in the side and rolls him over on his belly. He stands over Chuck and locks him in a camel clutch. Chuck stretches his arm out, reaching for his partner, but when he does, Evil Uno gouges his face, causing the referee to break the hold. Chuck tries to crawl to his corner, but Uno stomps on his back. Chuck shouts out in pain for his partner's help. Evil Uno stands on Chuck's back with his hands in the air, demanding the praise of the AEW crowd. Uno goes for a sit-out leg drop on Chuck's back, but Chuck rolls out of the way. Chuck tries to crawl towards his corner, but is dragged back to the opposite side of the ring by Stu Grayson. The referee admonishes Grayson for his interference, but Uno tags in Grayson. He stomps on Chuck and taunts Trent in the corner. When he turns around, Chuck leaps to his feet and drives his knee into Grayson's face, both men falling to the mat. The crowd starts to cheer for Chuck to make the tag to Trent. Grayson tags in Evil Uno, who grabs Chuck's foot. Chuck drops Evil Uno to a knee with an enziguri to the back of his head. Chuck does a diving roll to his corner and tags in Trent. Trent runs into the ring and hits a running knee on Evil Uno. The creepers try to climb into the ring. Some of the creepers try to climb into the ring and distract Trent. He knocks them down with a punch. Grayson pulls Evil Uno to the corner and tags himself in, but before he can get in the ring, Trent drop kicks him off the apron. The creepers pull Evil Uno out of the ring before any more damage can be done to their master. Trent rushes to Chuck's side and stands his partner up. The two look to each other and then to the crowd as the fans start cheering, "Hug, hug, 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 hug." The best friends look to each other and start to step to hug when suddenly the lights flicker out again. When the lights come back on, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson are back in the ring, surrounded by the creepers. But this time, Chuck and Trent are ready for them. The best friends are stood atop the ropes of opposite corners. The two leap at the horde of creepers in the Dark Order and take out the whole lot of them. Chuck and Trent start tossing creepers out of the ring left and right. Trent grabs Grayson. The best friends hit Strong Zero and pin Grayson in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. "They did it! The best friends have defeated the Dark Order!" shouts Excalibur over the headset. Creepers start to storm the ring as Chuck and Trent quickly slide out and rush up the ramp with their hands held high. The following week, on Being the Elite, we see that Chuck and Trent have been treated to a week off to rest up for their championship match against the Young Bucks live on October 30th. Matt and Nick are also resting after a long tournament. The two are at their home talking about the upcoming match. "What will people say when we become the first ever AEW Tag Team Champions?" says Matt. "Who cares? We're the best tag team in the world. Why wouldn't we be the first champions?" "You're not the least bit worried about Chuck and Trent? I mean, they've looked pretty strong," says Matt. "They're good, there's no doubt about that. But it's nothing a couple super kicks can't take care of," says Nick. The two brothers laugh to themselves and continue their workout. Welcome to AEW Live on TNT. Tonight we have a major event for you. We will crown our very first all-elite tag team champions. We will see the Young Bucks taking on the Best Friends in our main event. The Best Friends are the first to come out to the ring. Chuck and Trent stand in their corner awaiting the arrival of their opponents. As they wait, there appears to be something falling from the ceiling. The Best Friends stand there looking puzzled. The Young Bucks make their way to the ring, with the Young Bucks raining down from the sky. The match starts off with Matt and Trent. They start out performing arm drags, takedowns, hip tosses, reversals, and end with a double dropkick attempt. The two competitors spin up to their knees as they pause for the applause from the crowd. Matt and Trent go to lock up again, with Matt twisting Trent's arm. Trent tries to turn the hold around on Matt but is taken down to the mat. Matt transitions from an armbar to a rear chinlock on Trent. "Hey! Get off my best friend!" shouts Chuck from the corner. "Why don't you get in here and make me?" yells Matt. Chuck steps through the ropes and into the ring. Matt releases the hold and backs into his corner as Nick also steps into the ring. Trent stands up and the two teams have a standoff in the middle of the ring. They are trading verbal jabs as they start to move in closer. They're in each other's faces as both teams are trash-talking in the center of the ring. Matt and Nick shove Trent and Chuck, and the Best Friends shove them back harder. The Bucks bounce off the ropes and lift their legs to go for a super kick. Chuck and Trent go to push each other out of the way as the Bucks pump fake their kicks. The teams start trash-talking again, but this time they skip the shoving and go right to throwing fists. The teams are hammering it out in the center of the ring, referee losing control of the match. This is boiling down to a real, well, As our pay-per-view colleague would say, a real slobber knocker, Excalibur proclaims over the headset. The best friends start to get the better of the Bucks, backing them up against the ropes. The best friends whip them across the ring. The Bucks hit the ropes as Trent drops down in front of them. They step over Trent, and as they do, Chuck uncorks a massive double drop kick, knocking them both down. The Bucks roll out to the floor on opposite sides of the ring, leaving Chuck and Trent alone in the center. Chuck and Trent again look to each other, and then to the crowd. They step towards one another, arms wide open for the hug. But before the pair can meet, Matt and Nick have slipped back into the ring and superkicked the best friends from either side. Trent and Chuck are knocked out of the ring. The Bucks stand in the center of the ring. They look at each other, and then to the crowd, and then they quickly move in and give each other a big hug. From either side of the ring, we see Chuck and Trent start to crawl up to the apron. The best friends see the young Bucks hugging in the middle of the ring. Would you look at this, golden boy? The ultimate act of disrespect from the young Bucks, performing the signature embrace we typically see from the best friends. Chuck and Trent catch a glimpse of what is going on in the ring. Enraged, the best friends storm the ring and attack the young Bucks. They brutally attack the Bucks, bashing them with punches, kicks, knees, and chops. The best friends beat the Bucks into opposite corners. They look back at each other and Irish whip the Bucks into each other. The Bucks stumble and turn around. The best friends rush towards them and land mirroring running knees. Chuck throws Nick out of the ring and steps through the ropes onto the apron in his corner. Trent drags Matt to the corner and tags in Chuck. Trent lifts up Matt as we see a familiar sight of Chuck climbing to the top rope. Chuck leaps from the top rope and nails a double stomp to Matt Jackson as Trent drops down and plants him into the mat. Chuck slides in for the cover as Trent holds Nick back from breaking up the pin as the referee counts. 1, 2, 3. They've done it! The best friends are the first all-elite tag team champions. Nobody believed they could do it, and they've proven everyone wrong. The best friends Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta are your AEW Tag Team Champions, shouts Excalibur over the headset. The referee presents Chuck and Trent with their newly won tag team titles, and they hold them above their heads. They hold each other's hand and look to the crowd, and then look to each other as the crowd begins to chant, hug, 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 hug. Chuck and Trent open their arms, move in, and wrap each other up in their arms, giving the biggest embrace. They hold each other closely along with their newly won tag team championships. But just then, the lights begin to flicker. And that is where I will leave you off. Quite the cliffhanger if I do say so myself. I know, but you know what they say. Always leave them wanting more. I just want to again thank Royal Rumble for selecting me for this championship match. I hope I've done you proud and brought my A game. Thank you to Wilf and Luke, and thank you to everyone who listens to this episode. Please remember to share the link to this episode and be sure to tag me at Keif_The Chief on Twitter and let me know what you think of my #fantasy booking.
So, obviously, Keif decided to fantasy book The Best Friends. So, starting with a very good and different promo, which was very well described as well by Keif. I really liked that. I loved having the music playing on in the background while Keif continued to tell the promo. It wasn't like distracting or anything like that. It was actually, I did actually think it really added to the booking, so I did enjoy that. And as it carried on throughout the actual booking itself, did not like take me away from it whatsoever. It only benefited his booking. So that was very good, very well done. It wasn't too loud, wasn't too quiet. It was also a very good match layup by Keif with SCU and a well worked out finish. So that was very good. He also became very eerie. He didn't become very eerie. The booking became very eerie when the match against the Dark Order happened. And it's clear to me that Keif has obviously done his research with the AEW talent from listening to this. And I really like that. I think it really showed through his booking that he has done that. It's a very small positive, but I really liked how Keif went straight into like the commentary team announcing AEW on TNT, and he didn't need to tell us who it was who said it. We just assumed straight away just by the way that Keif said it. So doing his impressions and things like that. And I think Royally Rumbled also did the same sort of similar thing. But it's really subtle things like that. You don't necessarily need to say, oh, and then Jim Ross said, and then Excalibur said, and then so-and-so, and Tony Schiavone and all that. You don't need to do that. What both of these guys have done, very clever. It doesn't take you out of the book, and it continues in the little bubble that they put you in. And it's very clever. The hug to the super kick, to the Young Bucks mocking the embrace of the best friends hug with their own hug in the ring, was a very clever spot, and in a way, and a good way actually, of gaining heat for the Young Bucks and getting the best friends a reason to be fired up. It was a very good highlight for that match for me, and a highlight, to be honest, of the fantasy booking itself. And of course, Keif left us hanging on a cliffhanger, and who doesn't love a cliffhanger? I do. I definitely do. So very good from Keif. But on to the hosts of this podcast, Royally Rumbled, the champions, Royally Rumbled.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Jordan and Robert here from Royally Rumbled. And here is our next championship defense for our fantasy booking championship against Keif the Chief. The stipulation? Book an AEW tag team.
Week 1, AEW Dynamite on TNT, Wednesday, October 30th, 2019, from Charleston, West Virginia. The AEW broadcast team welcomes us to the program on TNT. We take a look at a few matches set to take place, including the main event, the finals of the AEW Tag Team Title Tournament. Jim Ross leads us into the tail of the tape and goes over the tournament results so far.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another defining moment in the history of All Elite Wrestling, as we get set to crown the inaugural AEW World Tag Team Champions.
I'm Tony Schiavone, and with me as always is Jim Ross and Excalibur. This is AEW Dynamite, and we will see the culmination of the tag team tournament tonight. Now, just to recap a bit, it originally started as 7 teams, including a bye for the Dark Order.
However, things changed drastically when we premiered on TNT 2 weeks ago, when AEW President Tony Khan announced the latest signings to the company. We would go on to see the Dark Order be eliminated by that team. That team also went on to defeat SCU in the semifinals, and will now face off against the Young Bucks in the finals later tonight.
That team, of course, is the multi-time tag champs, the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin.
Alex Shelley returning several months ago to the ring after a near career-ending injury. He and his longtime partner, Chris Sabin, are looking to be named the first ever AEW World Tag Team Champions, but in order to do so must combat the Young Bucks first.
Later in the night, the lights center on the ring as Justin Roberts stands ready to make the official introductions. Referee Aubrey Edwards is set to officiate the bout as she hovers near the championship titles.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your main event of the evening. And this tag team contest is scheduled for one fall.
One fall!
And it is the finals of the World Tag Team Championship Tournament, where the winning team will be declared the first ever All Elite Wrestling World Tag Team Champions. Approaching the ring first, from Rancho Cucamonga, California, at a combined weight of 390 pounds, Nick and Matt Jackson, the Young Bucks!
The AEW Executive Vice Presidents come out to a huge ovation from a hot crowd in Charleston. Their Young Buck cannons fire off as they hit their signature pose at the top of the ramp. The commentary team puts over their tournament victories against Private Party and the Lucha Brothers.
And introducing their opponents, from Detroit, Michigan, at a combined weight of 420 pounds, Chris Sabin, Alex Shelley, the Motor City Machine Guns.
Sabin and Shelley come trotting out, and the entire crowd is united in pointing at the palms of their hands. The Machine Guns ooze confidence and are ready for this big match. The Machine Guns step into the ring and come face to face with the Bucks. Excalibur mentions how these two teams are not strangers. They know each other almost inside and out, so it'll be interesting to see how each team adapts to the other as the match progresses.
Sabin and Shelley converse in their corner until deciding that Alex Shelley will start off the match for the team. Nick Jackson steps up first for the Young Bucks. The bell sounds, and the match officially begins. Shelley and Nick Jackson trade holds in a very technical start to the match. Shelley gets the better of Nick and wraps him up like a pretzel before locking in a crucifix pinning combination. Nick rolls out of it and is immediately taken back down to the mat by Shelley. Nick pops back up and sweeps Shelley's leg to cover him. Shelley wriggles out and Nick cuts him off by locking in a wrist lock. Nick pulls Shelley back into the Young Bucks corner and Matt tags himself in. The Young Bucks get in some 2-on-1 offense on Shelley. Matt locks in another wrist lock as Nick tags in. Nick leaps off the top rope and moonsaults onto Shelley's exposed arm. Nick grabs a wrist lock this time, and Matt tags in. He climbs to the top rope and leaps off, connecting with a double foot stomp to Shelley's arm. The Bucks begin taunting as they firmly take control, singling out Alex Shelley and his left arm.
The match goes another 15 minutes, both teams getting in crazy spots and pushing each other to the limit. It breaks down as Ref Aubrey begins losing control. All four men are in the ring trading blows. Matt throws a super kick to Shelley and connects. Sabin throws a super kick to Matt and it connects. Nick throws a super kick to Sabin, but Sabin catches his foot. Sabin throws Nick's boot, causing Nick to accidentally super kick Matt, who drops to the canvas. Sabin goes to super kick Nick, but Nick ducks it and goes to roll up Sabin for a schoolboy. 1, 2.
Sabin manages to roll out, and once on his feet, Sabin and Shelley connect simultaneously with a double super kick to Nick Jackson. Everyone collapses from exhaustion in the ring. The crowd is standing on their feet, half of them chanting for the Bucks, the other half are chanting for the Machine Guns. All four competitors crawl to their knees and begin trading blows in the center of the ring.
The lights go dark, and as they come back on, all of the creepers are surrounding the ring, with Evil Uno and Stu Grayson standing dominantly in the ring, among the limp bodies of the Machine Guns and the Young Bucks. Ref Aubrey is pulled to the outside by some of the creepers, as some of the others retrieve the tag team titles from Justin Roberts. The creepers hand Evil Uno and Stu Grayson the titles, and they pose with them as Dynamite goes off the air.
Week 2 begins with AEW Dynamite on TNT, Wednesday, November 6th, 2019, from Charlotte, North Carolina. In the midst of a Lucha Brothers versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus match, the lights cut out. When they come back on, the Dark Order's creepers surround the ring. As they climb to the ring apron, Pentagon, Phoenix, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus stand back to back, ready to take them on. But the creepers do not enter the ring. They all point to the video screen.
We showed you who we are. You didn't know, so we showed you. And yet, even after proving that we are the best tag team in the world and earning a bye in the tournament, our opportunity was ripped from our clutches. In turn, last week, we decided to snatch your opportunities away, Young Bucks and Motor City Machine Guns. I, Evil Uno, and my blood, Stu Grayson, have no apprehensions or zero fear that we will prove it again at Full Gear in Baltimore, Maryland. As inevitably as the clock strikes midnight, the order will be set right in a triangle ladder match for the AEW Tag Team Championships.
All hail the Dark Order!
All hail the
Dark Order!
All hail the Dark Order.
The video cuts to black, as do the lights. And when the lights come back on, the creepers have all vanished from ringside. Both teams in the ring show visible signs of frustration as the match is restarted.
AEW Full Gear Pay-Per-View, Saturday, November 9th, 2019, from Baltimore, Maryland. Triangle ladder match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. The Dark Order versus the Young Bucks versus the Motor City Machine Guns. The camera shots of the tag titles hanging above the ring are shown, along with the different sized ladders lining the rampway. The Motor City Machine Guns make their way out first, followed by the Young Bucks. The Dark Order's music plays, and out comes Stu Grayson, leading the Creepers, who are surrounded by their leader, Evil Uno. They all pace towards the ring, but before they can finish their entrance, the Machine Guns and the Bucks run and connect with suicide dives, taking out all the Creepers as well as Uno and Stu.
The Bucks and the Guns work together to take down the Dark Order and their Creepers. As each Creeper stands up to attack, they each eat a super kick from one member of the other teams. The crowd pops for each kick, but then as the Young Bucks finish up their super kick party on the Creepers, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson bring the first ladder into the equation, and they lay out the Bucks on the outside using it as a weapon. The Dark Order slide the ladder into the ring as they go in, but are met with double sliding drop kicks to the ladder from the Machine Guns. Stu Grayson falls to the outside, and the Machine Guns pick up the pace to keep Uno grounded. They fire off quick kicks until Uno blocks a kick from Sabin. Evil Uno, holding Sabin's foot, flips him backwards, but Sabin lands on his feet. Shelley runs past Sabin and connects with a reverse atomic drop. Sabin runs as Shelley moves out of the way and connects with a low-angle drop kick to Uno's legs, causing Uno to fall face first to the mat. Shelley then runs and rebounds off the ropes, hooking Uno's head in a reverse cravat lock, leaving him prone for Sabin to rebound off the ropes and connect with a drop kick to Uno's face. Uno rolls to the outside as Sabin and Shelley attempt to set up the ladder.
Once set up, Sabin begins to climb as Shelley plays defense. Matt Jackson slides in first and is taken down by a forearm shot from Shelley. Nick Jackson follows but is knocked back by Shelley. The Young Bucks regroup and Nick runs in, turns around and pops Matt up over his head. Matt drop kicks the ladder that Sabin is on and knocks Sabin off onto Shelley. The Bucks and the Machine Guns trade moves in the ring, fast-paced and hard-hitting. Stu Grayson and Evil Uno attempt to come back into the ring at several points, but the Bucks and Machine Guns keep them at bay at every turn. Sabin and Shelley knock down the Bucks and turn their attention towards the Dark Order. Shelley gets pulled up onto the apron, but manages to fight off Stu Grayson. Shelley stands on the middle rope and holds it open for Sabin to suicide dive through, but Uno catches Sabin and chokeslams him on the outside. While Shelley is distracted, he eats a double super kick from the Young Bucks, causing him to fall backward off the middle rope and onto a prone Sabin.
Evil Uno and Stu Grayson make it into the ring and trade moves with the Young Bucks. Uno and Grayson clothesline the Bucks out of the ring onto the floor to join Sabin and Shelley. Stu readies himself for a dive to the outside in hopes of taking all four men out. Stu misses and lands on his feet in the center of all four. The Machine Guns and the Young Bucks line up and super kick the head off Stu Grayson at the same time.
Everyone slowly sells back to the ring, but Evil Uno is fighting them all off. He delivers pump kicks and lariats and levels everyone in the ring. Uno whips the Young Bucks into the turnbuckles face first. He grabs a ladder and begins knocking everyone down. He holds the ladder against his chest, but Sabin manages to duck Uno's swing, and Sabin dropkicks Uno's legs, causing him to fall face first onto the ladder. Sabin picks up the ladder as Evil Uno sells up in the corner. Sabin runs and smashes the ladder against him. He stacks the ladder against Uno as Stu Grayson runs in to cut him off. Sabin manages to avoid Stu, and he springboards off the ladder, crushing Uno, and connects with a tornado DDT to Stu.
Matt and Nick come back into the ring and beat down Sabin. Matt sets up for a Meltzer driver, but Shelley comes in and fights the Bucks off. Sabin and Shelley hit the ASCS rush on Nick Jackson, and he falls to the outside. They go to do the same thing to Matt Jackson, but Matt reverses. Stu Grayson comes in with a second ladder and knocks all three men down. Evil Uno comes back in with a third ladder, and he and Stu set up a ladder bridge.
Evil Uno readies Sabin for a powerbomb and gets him up for it, but Shelley's up and kicks Uno in the knee, causing him to drop Sabin. Sabin and Shelley hit Uno with a super kick enziguri combination. Uno sells out of the ring. Stu goes after them and knocks down Shelley. Sabin fires back and picks up Stu, crosses his legs, and connects with the cradle shock. As Sabin makes it back to his feet, he turns around and eats a super kick for Matt Jackson, sending him to the outside.
Alex Shelley and Matt Jackson begin fighting and make their way to the ladder bridge. Shelley sets up for sliced bread number 2 on Matt. But as Shelley walks up the one side of the ladder, he gets countered into a tombstone piledriver position. Nick Jackson climbs onto the apron, then springboards in with the front flip, and the Young Bucks connect with the Meltzer driver to Alex Shelley on the bridged ladder, breaking it in half. Shelley and Nick Jackson fall to the outside and are not moving at all.
Matt Jackson struggles to his feet and pushes the broken ladder out to the floor. He pushes one ladder to the corner and sets up the other ladder in the center of the ring. He begins climbing, then Chris Sabin begins climbing the other side. They're trading blows at the top of the ladder. They each have one hand on the belts and are punching each other with their free hand. Suddenly, several of the Dark Order's creepers crawl into the ring. They surround the ladder and begin to push it over. Matt Jackson flies to the outside and crashes to the floor. Chris Sabin falls and gets hung up on the top rope of the ring. He falls backward to the center, grasping at his throat and gasping for air. The Dark Order enter the ring, and Stu Grayson climbs the ladder that is set up in the corner. Evil Uno hovers over Sabin, as Sabin begins to use Uno to pull himself to his feet. Evil Uno grabs Sabin and hooks him. Stu Grayson leaps off the corner ladder, and the Dark Order connect with the fatality to Chris Sabin.
The Creepers position the ladder in the center of the ring, and Evil Uno and Stu Grayson climb to the top. Surrounded by their Creepers, the Dark Order retrieve the belts, and the match ends.
Justin Roberts gets on the microphone as the bell rings.
Here are your winners and the first ever AEW World Tag Team Champions, the Dark Order.
Camera shots cycle through the destruction around the ring as Stu Grayson and Evil Uno tighten their clutches around the All Elite Wrestling World Tag Team Championships. Atop the ladder, Evil Uno outstretches his arms as Stu Grayson shouts,
All hail the Dark Order!
That was our AEW Tag Team booking. So if you enjoyed hearing from us, give us a follow at Royally Rumbled. And thank the Guy-Conic hosts, Luke and Wilf.
So, they sort of led me down a path when I originally thought that they were going to do the Motor City Machine Guns, and then it turned out not to be. So the voice effects that they did confused me because Jordan's impression of Justin Roberts was so fucking good. Jordan, you have a career prospect there as a ring announcer, my friend. Roy Rumble, of course, as always, run us through a very good match with the Motor City Machine Guns and the Young Bucks. The introduction of the Dark Order was very good and intriguing and had to me to sort of pay attention immediately. And I love that. And they pulled Aubrey Edwards, the referee, out. That was very clever. Robert cutting a very good promo there. Well done, Robert. And I really loved the idea of why the Dark Order decided to take action being screwed out of the tournament. Was very good. All hail the Dark Order. You can't tell me every listener here didn't enjoy that little effect that they had with loads of different voices saying that. Very clever. The Triple Threat ladder match. Let's go on to the main event of their booking. Had some very nice spots in the match and some that I really enjoyed, and the detail that Rory Rumble put into the description again just shines through every time. Was a very nutty spot with the Meltzer driver on the ladder to go along with the great psychology of this match. Using the creepers. Now, I'm going to address this as probably one of my favourite things of Rory Rumble's booking. Using the creepers that the Dark Order was a great idea to stop their opponents from retrieving the belts, and the actual sight, I bet the sight of seeing Uno and Grayson collecting the belts, I can't remember who they said actually collected it, whether they're both up there or what, but the sight of however they did it, with the creepers surrounding and crawling around the bottom of the ladder, protecting them up there, would have been amazing. And I would have loved to have seen that, especially as they were like lifting the belts high on top of the ladder. That would be awesome. So, overall, I am massively impressed with both bookings, gotta say it. And fair play to both competitors booking AEW before we knew what the TV show would be like, because that's how long ago these guys have done that. Both made very good stories that kept me intrigued and interested the whole way through. The little touches that Keif made with the background music and crowd chants was a very nice effect that I liked. And I really think as well that Keif, his match descriptions improved with his booking too. And personally, my highlight of Keif's booking was definitely the Young Bucks hug spot. I think that was a very nice idea, a very clever idea there from Keif of a way of getting heat and obviously getting the baby faces of this match fired up. Royally Rumbled, of course. Let's go on to them. They do exactly what they do best every time, which is a reason why they are the champions to begin with, to be fair. Their match psychology, obviously using Jordan's experience of being an actual wrestler, matched with their unique ways of describing the match, using both Jordan and Robert, has such a good flow to it. It's the reason why I enjoy listening to their podcast, because they just have two really good complementary voices, I think, the great chemistry. So when they're describing the matches and doing the different promos and stuff, it has the same effect for me. The highlight of their booking was definitely using the creepers and the picture, like I said earlier, in my head that they created of the Dark Order upon the ladder with the creepers surrounding them as they retrieve the belts. That is my highlight. So with all of this in consideration, I have picked a winner. And so, the winner, and still the fantasy booking champions, is indeed Royally Rumble. Congratulations. Great effort though from Keif, who really put up a great fight and added some really cool ideas into his arsenal. So I'm really impressed by Keif, I must say. But a massive thank you to both competitors and a huge apology from myself. Slap myself across the wrist. That has taken me this long to give my response after my hiatus. But I am back now, so thank you to Royally Rumbled for hosting this fantasy booking match on their feed and keeping fantasy booking alive. I hope everyone has enjoyed it. If you haven't listened to fantasy bookings before, I hope you really enjoyed it anyway, and it's nice to be back, I must say. So again, my name is Omega Luke. Congratulations to your winners, Royally Rumbled, and commiserations to Keif the Chief. And who knows, maybe you'll hear again from me sometime soon. But until then.
So there you have it, the Fantasy Booking Championship match. And stay tuned to our social channels for the future of the Fantasy Booking Championship. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Royally Rumbled. So, for Royally Rumbled, I'm Jordan.
I am Robert.
Thanks so much for listening. Make sure you tune in next Friday to find out who will be victorious in the battle for the crown.